Hello and welcome back to
Are you saying
Not
that
for Podcast.
advance
It's been a while
death?
since our last months. September since the last time I played that.
We're
But
still vassals,
that was when
slaves,
the
we're
last time
just
I
in
played
pretty
this,
occasions.
and also when the last
Oh, Meg,
update and the last thing for the game,
we're only getting started.
when the lockdown thing came out for the game.
Good evening.
And
I'm
now
Megan
this
Moss.
is
And I'm
episode
Jeremy Dawes.
2,
Our main headlines tonight.
which has just came out. So,
every single one of you's a big
no further ado,
Jesus.
I'll go to the end and I'll be back when well, I'll finish loading and like that. I'll see you in a minute.
No professionalism. It's not a mess. Everything is where it should be. It's ramshackle and characterful,
Wait.
and I expect you to know the difference. Of course Megan's place looked lovely, but I can't see
Just
it,
give me
can
a little
I?
minute.
Thanks, Jenny. How's Lockin with...
Okay, I think this is it. This is part of the new episode. The rhythmic beating of the heart monitor brings you slowly back to consciousness. Opening your eyes, you're greeted by a semi-cynical of comatose center faces. Your family by your side. A reassuring familiar sight. Blink for a few minutes, right? Look up. Sam's face in a mixture of interest. So, things have been between you two lately, and also they're clearly worried about you. The look you're getting is small. You would choose yourself to take a hand, or the worried lines on Sam's forehead fade, and they smile as they greet you. Your feels the tension for the past few months seems to ease. You both got enough to be anxious about without being each other's throats. With a final smile at them, you turn to the rest of your family. As soon as you turn to look at him, you can see Charlie tense up. His certain clear on his face is So, you're definitely good, right? He finally asked quickly, looking away. Cause there's nothing to worry about. Yeah. Charlie looks at you and grins, one of the infectious smiles that spreads round the room. It's always good to have him in your corner, your smile. Right, despite you're not being well enough lately. You okay, Ma? Your mother starts clearing soccer, right? She turns to you and smiles, and grateful for the text. Yes, dear, of course. How you feeling? You smile warmly and nod, but before you can respond, the doctor bursts in and out. Everyone out. She asks you for what feels like hundredth time. How are you feeling? Excellent. There is no sign of any real damage, just a bit of a shock to the old system. Pardon the pun. Now that we've recommended you do anything like that again, of course, not that way. A couple of days rest should feel right as rain. Oh, and the private room and care, the doctor gestures to your room, which you notice looks rather expensive, has all been paid for by Mr. Boltzmann. He left those flowers and said not to worry and to take the rest of the week off. He'll see you Monday apparently. Something's not right about that. A burden to bear. You come home from a particularly late shift to find the kitchen light still on. Everyone is... Right, I'll be back once we get to that actual episode. Cause I'm not getting on with this. Here we go. I think this is it. We are going to start we're going into the episode. I think this is it because it's loading. So, once the loading's done, I will be back. Right, here we go. I think this is it. This looks like episode 2. It looks like it, but also it's weird because of this shipment we're currently going through and stuff like that. Wait, turn everything on. Actually, don't need to turn on.
You realise you're beginning to sound like me?
I mean it, Kath.
Stay where you are, Kath.
Don't know for
Jenny? This is not Jenny's decision, Jeremy, or yours.
done this
I'll
before.
talk to Buxton.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return his wife's casserole dish at our dinner next week.
I've never had.
Jenny?
I'm sorry, Kath, you're gonna have to
I
leave.
can have that a wee bit because I'm not going to have it like I should. All the way down.
Letting it go
Because I had
to
to
your head.
do.
She nearly blinded
10
me.
seconds,
I thought we were all
everybody.
part of a team these days.
But I'll let you know.
Better, Jeremy, you know that.
I had to do the last
Stop and
section
say
of the
hi and do
lockdown
your
one.
job.
If it again.
Four,
for this.
3.
Don't tempt me.
But anyway.
Good evening. I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing,
Actually, I'll do
and
that.
even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
What do you think about all these sanctions?
I doubt it make a lot of difference, Pet. I've lived through 2 world wars and I smoke 40 a day. And if that ain't killed me, I doubt this will either.
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions. And we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many.
There we go.
And whilst I wish we could improve other countries
Sorry,
as
I
much as
didn't
we
realise
have our
what
own,
the hell was going on.
we do not rely
This
on
is
the
new.
help of others to thrive.
Whoa. That is new. That is brand new. That aspect. I've never seen that aspect before. So I don't know what the hell I'm doing in that aspect really. But now I know what to do with it. It's just that it's a new aspect to the game because I did play the original. I did play it when it first came out. And I've done every single episode, every single time so far. So that's brand new. But anyway. Well, it's going to be a little bit, I don't know how long, before it restarts. For you, we can try that all again. Because that is new. It's a new aspect to the game.
Be all right, Kath. Pack up your weapons of optical destruction and get out.
You realise you're beginning to sound like me?
I mean it, Kath.
Stay where you are,
What the
Kath.
hell did I just...
Jenny? This is not Jenny's decision, Jeremy, or yours.
You'll be all right. I'll talk to Buxton.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return his wife's casserole dish at our dinner next week. Jenny?
Something got... I've done something... I was supposed to press that thing.
I'm sorry, Kath, you're gonna have to leave.
Letting it go to your head.
She nearly blinded
10
me.
seconds,
I thought we were all
everybody.
part of a team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know that.
So,
Stop
wait,
and say I'm mighty and do your job.
You'll have me fired too.
3.
Don't tempt me. Good evening. I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Dawson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines. But how should we react? We asked the public.
So how do you feel about the sanctions?
I actually think that with advance in charge we'll be fine. Of course, the rest of the world will want us to fail, or it'll be their billionaires next. But I trust Julia and Peter.
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
Keep an eye on that. It'll just go straight to her.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever. And this team is on your side. Thank you.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's stance?
Yeah.
Robin Short found out.
I was wondering if you could tell me what you think of the government.
What? That shower of iridescent pricks? Punishing success and rewarding laziness?
Good, perfect timing.
Down the bloody Swanee!
I'm not going to do that bit on this section because of that aspect. Because of that.
Putting the grown-ups to shame. An award today for Camp Busyfingers, which continues to break all production expectations.
A slightly dazed looking Sophia Remington presented young foreman Alfie Plank and his team with a certificate, statuette, and a moderately generous tuck-shop voucher.
So, how do the public feel about the Youth Employment Opportunity Scheme? Patrick Bannon again.
What are your thoughts on Camp Busyfingers?
I love it. I just wish they had these kind of chances when I was at school, because if I had real skills, I probably wouldn't have ended up as a waffle waitress. Good for Remington's fist for giving kids a head start.
A momentary lapse of reason. Commuters across the capital found themselves somewhat bemused by the latest stunt by controversial protest group Disrupt.
In a baffling start to the day, commuters found performers outside every major station, all dressed and posed identically. Whether we're supposed to be amused or intimidated is anybody's guess, Jeremy. But most commuters didn't even stop to notice.
Well, as long as it's not some grand contemporary dance, it's probably harmless.
But how do we all feel about Disrupt and their eclectic tactics? Robin found out.
How do you feel about Disrupt?
Oh, well, now you're talking. Ruddy hero, showing us not to take it lying down like Iris here.
So you both feel they're a cause worth supporting?
Well, Iris doesn't speak on mine, but we're pretty sure there's still one in there, aren't we, love? Wherever it is, it loves Disrupt, fighting the orcs for our freedom. And what could possibly be wrong with that?
Do you need me to get you some help?
Injury time? Fierce rival doctors David Wong and Ingrid Svorsborg and Horgensford today sent a joint statement to the service appealing for an urgent shipment of supplies.
After breaking into two warring factions, things seem to have gone from bad to worse for the ill-fated expedition. They look like they could really use some supplies, Jeremy.
Or possibly a peace negotiator.
But with the pair arguably being their own worst enemies, how should we feel about sending them the resources they need to carry on? Patrick Bannon found out.
Surely you can't be happy with supporting both sides in a conflict.
Oh, it's all just good fun, isn't it? Anyway, you can't just arm one side, Patrick, you silly fool. We should definitely send them supplies. They're still people after all, even if they are having a bit of a tick.
Keep the phone on.
I am not a number. Applications finally open today for the new Advanced Team membership cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks, and, rightfully, pubs and bars.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic, But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards?
Absolutely bloody not. It's the thin end of the wedge, isn't it, Iris? First it's, can I see your identification, sir? And then it's, would you mind bending over the table, sir? So Sergeant State Educated and Constable Regional Accent here can stick their truncheon up your berry out.
Crikey!
They should call them what they are. They're bloody ID cards. Oh, for Christ's sake, what is it, Iris?
Oh, I'm really not happy, Algernon!
What the hell?
Crikey.
And finally tonight, getting stuck in a shameless attempt to cash in on his bad boy status, Shane celebrity Johnny Hamsleeves announced a new line of real ale at a press conference earlier today.
The new brew, entitled Headbutt Ale in reference to his controversies of last year, promises a night you'll pretend you regret.
Or possibly a night you'll pretend you remember.
So what should we all think of Johnny's latest attempt to market his notoriety? Patrick?
Oh my God, fantastic!
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Zus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm. Again.
That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News. Some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Tonight we have guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For Advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lanfordshire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
No, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
Great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard of labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
Okay. Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Advance's defiant stance?
Advance is like man who's thinking a big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland then. We have like some of the cleanest mental health care facilities in the continent, yeah.
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have your surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah.
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of Advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
What a surprise! The hippies didn't show up for the prize.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole, like, voting, yeah? But it's actually the Festival of Furlands here at the moment, where we honor the old generation. So, like, we all had to work, our grandparents clean out what's happening, and that's, like, a really, really time-consuming process, actually.
You're like a sissy man. You have this expression, sissy man, is like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah.
Oh, stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
Yeah, he always win.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
You're like man with tiny penis who think he have tiny penis, but actually he discovered that. Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good. You can join others on my wall.
Actually, in Svenland, we have like serious animal welfare legislation. And like my friend Helge, She got arrested for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her tea thing. I mean, in English, jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jam Sandwich. She was a right cracker too. What became of her?
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
It's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call. Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Chris, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, a young man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming vein. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Finland, we don't really go in for all that restricted monogamy stuff here. We're kind of flawed.
Okay, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and
possible shortages and power outages.
Oh, possible.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Beard?
Well, from here, you're all like a bit stupid really arguing about outdated devices, concepts like money. In Finland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's like really hard to sanction, actually.
Thank you, Minister Vortifoot.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant mutant hairy bear. Really, he just standing in field
holding his tiny penis. Yes, thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way, and we're ready. As my old man used to say, you can't make a shag pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Reassuring words there.
We'll be back
after these messages.
1 minute back.
Hey, Peter. I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah,
wait,
sure, front
for
of
some
back.
reason I don't have to be there. It was locked.
Sees out your league, mate.
Thank you for the correction.
Well, you have to be more careful.
It's all part of his long-term plan to get fired live on the news at 6 in front of the nation.
Can someone warn him it's going a little too well?
Segment grade D. So some blue waveform, I don't know exactly where. Either sensor or there.
What?
I'm not exactly sure either there or the sensor.
Have they given you the Crown Prince report?
What?
Megan?
This is Jeremy, and he'll be interviewing you.
Oh.
Yo, thanks for having me on your show, man.
It's not alright.
Yo, you're not going to ask me about the chimp, are you?
Live in 10 seconds.
So you put that get up
Did he like that bat with a bump?
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a real honor to be here on your show, The News. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand.
But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. Like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born.
What?
Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she laid there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Possible.
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just it's just too hard.
Of course.
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto leader. They call me Mr. Cheese Slice. Anyway, we were like a family.
So I would see. Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck Advance. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, they stole from us. They're taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness is not eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah, nah, of course, man, very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know?
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah, I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese Slice.
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of
or
like...
maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song, Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh no, I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah. You love it?
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art censorship system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song.
I'm going to be in charge, so...
It's Jesus!
Yeah, it'll be bad for funny.
You're gonna pay You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel elation from your participation. Still 2 leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Juliet require a massive fucking mansion? So fuck all your schemes. I don't need your freaky team, and I don't need your help to achieve my fucking dreams. So don't make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Yeah, every single one of you's a bit Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being motherfucking lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive, but why would I get out of bed with no fucking incentive? Although it's contravention of your obvious intention. I like to eat a little of the fruits in my invention. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. The best of the praise, of the crest of the wave. Cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Take this fact, gonna stain it red. Gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head. Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. It's time to stone a coffin with a motherfucking pitchfork. So this is for the snuff ones, the push and the shove ones, the folks to feel the burden of their motherfucking loved ones. Ones who had plenty like a motherfucking Bentley. The ones who now finding out their bank accounts are empty. The ones of aspiration who had to flee a nation. The ones who built a business out of dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil. It only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our needs are not the same. And the best of the brains serve the rest of the ways. Cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Gonna take this fact, gonna stay in it red. Gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head. Cause he's fake as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Touch on the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Get out of your seats, get your asses in the streets. Set a fire in the building, let him feel some fucking heat. Say you hate to go getters, you're squilling bet getters, and burn them on the powers of advances fucking letters. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red. Gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head. Cause he's fake as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to steal the castle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Chase that dream, you don't need a fucking team. And advances, little dances aren't as harmless as it seems. Cause they're stale and corrupt, then you're angry corrupt. Then your hearts and your minds and your fists to destruct.
Jesus there with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I'm sorry. I may not agree with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs, and an attempt was made to censor some of your lyrics.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
This is absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe this.
Here at the National Lightning News, we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Megan.
Well, a bit of dangerous language there, sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our culture spot. Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic outing. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
That's the ads.
Jenny, this is fucking outrageous!
Thank you so much. If you could come with me.
No, this is ridiculous. Who's accommodated?
This is just a mix-up, I'm sure. Now, if you come with me, I really do have to ask you to...
What the hell? Okay. There was something going on because I couldn't go to A for some reason. A is not doable. Right, I'll be back if we have to restart this whole thing again, and then I'll come back to this part. Okay.
We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Megan.
Well, a bit of dangerous language there, sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our culture spot. Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple of familiar faces about their upcoming dramatic outing.
I can do that.
We'll be right back after this.
That's the ads.
Jenny, this is fucking
This time
outrageous!
it worked. Last time it didn't.
No,
And I
this is
don't know
ridiculous. Who's
exactly why it didn't work last time.
I'm sure. Now, if you come with me, I really do have to ask
Oh,
you to
trust
leave
me.
it.
My father's going to hear about this.
I understand. This is unbelievable, Megan!
I don't know
For
what
some
you're
reason,
talking about, Jeremy.
they wouldn't let me do what I did last time, which was that one.
Just a reminder, using that old VCR. Popping a new tape. Last ad break.
The what bit last ad break?
Everyone will get their fair share, and no one will be left behind.
Oh, phew.
Here we go.
Oh, shut up, stop it.
Look at him.
If we could just get you in position.
Oh, say no more. Say no more.
Megan, Jeremy,
Right,
you
obviously
and
get
Mr.
those two.
Algebra,
Vividly.
Wait,
and Mr.
what
Harris,
did
and
they-
this is Ms. Radin.
What?
Philippa, please.
You're back together
Don't get
again,
ready
eh?
for
Who'd
that
have thought
thing
it?
with
Perhaps a
I can
low
tell.
demon.
Yes, it is awfully
That's gonna
exciting,
go.
isn't it?
Right, okay then. We're going live in 10 seconds, opening on camera 1.
Yep, I'm already set.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back, and no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces.
You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yogurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by National Treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Radin, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
It's so lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me. It's about my life.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their legs akimbo, mid-session, sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clement, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to training sometimes. He's actually a pretty good goal sweeper. Anyway, so, Pete, he says, Toby, he thinks my name's Toby, see? He says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in these desperate times?
What did you say?
Yeah, right.
So, Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here?
Well, after the success of my debut work and all the people that I've touched, I knew that I had a career in theatre. I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It like really gets to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris. Jesus, that was hard.
Catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is built around two things that are very important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
I'm sorry, son. You're an embarrassment.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells!
Philippa, what's it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show, then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or godforsaken soap opera or, God forbid,
trying to get in now.
But, you know, this show has really let me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show.
Good question. I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach that's really brought the production from strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable.
God.
He was our rock.
Can you give us a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show?
Yeah, all sorts, yeah.
We've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
And some epic fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports board scene.
You'll never take the sacred pass!
And am I right in saying this was officially commissioned by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer, which, you know, to be honest, is actually a lifesaver, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale.
Which, frankly, would have been a travesty.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ!
Goodness, and you do this every night?
Absolutely. It's a metaphor.
For what?
Death.
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
Bloody right they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry cleaning of my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can folks at home come and see this for themselves?
We're performing all over the nation.
And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
Yes, it's unbelievable.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt, you'll have taken our jobs.
I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but see.
That's all we have time for tonight.
Broken.
Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. And from all of us here, have a peaceful night.
That's the ads. Let's get reset for tomorrow, please.
Hey, we must stop bumping into each other like this, eh?
I don't know what I can do about that part because the tape's broken. And it doesn't let me go back to the previous ones. Well, I'll have to do that whole entire section again, so I'll be back, hopefully, when it's done. Right, hopefully that's sorted out.
That's the ads. Let's get reset for tomorrow, please.
It looks like
we must stop bumping into each other like this, eh?
Yes, I succeeded. I didn't actually fuck it up like I did last time. I fucked it up. Yeah, because I didn't realise that you're supposed to actually swap one of the fucking tapes around. You're supposed to get rid of one of the tapes that you've already previously used and put in a new tape into that slot, because C doesn't work for some reason. You can't just start off picking all three because one of the VCRs is broken. Well, let's see how done. Oh, we are broadcast C. Not too bad. It says your full wages can't say, well, but then in the other kidney. What the hell is that all about? Selling music. Is that because they've taken money and all that shit? But it's really probably gone in that world. Not sure when it comes to them. Actually, I'm gonna do this. But if I go back, in fact, if not, I'll go back to the menu. Okay, so there will be another podcast. But that will be for next time. I'll do the whole podcast. This time, just leave it just now. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button anyway you want. Don't miss mouse and subscribe to the channel to the channel. Also, any tips you want to give me, any games you want me to check out, or just want to say something in general, let me know down in the comments below, and as always I'll get back to you. And finally, thank you all for watching, and I shall see you all in the next episode.
That the team will keep